All right, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the program. It's Good Afternoon Ghana, and we're turning our attention once again to issues on the table, and we are faced with two major issues. One has to do with ECG, another with Galamsey. We'll try and raise our ECG officials on the phone line to speak with and find answers to the current situation that we're faced with as a country. Really, what's the problem that's not making us have consistent power supply? Again, the issue of Galamsey, I think, resurrected when Aisha Wan was arrested, or was re-arrested, I must say. And we have not gone to sleep because most of the issues are coming out with clashes being reported in communities. We're paying some more attention to it. We have the Ashanti Hene, Asante Hene, Otumfo Setutu wading into the argument. Ocheng Hene has also said something that has to do with the defense of chiefs, if we should really hold them responsible with what's happening to our precious land or forest reserves. This is Good Afternoon Ghana. I am Enia Fampo, who will be speaking with some officials on the phones. We'll be joined by Yunus Afuseni, who's a former member of parliament and minister for lands and natural resources, and also Emmanuel Wilson will join us in the studio. He's chief crusader for Crusaders Against Corruption. We're talking more on this matter. If you have some issues to discuss and expose them, you can send them to our messages. I'll make time to read them going forward as we kickstart the discussion. Let's take a breather. We will be back shortly. Welcome back to Good Afternoon Ghana. All right, so I have Emmanuel Wilson, who is chief crusader for Crusaders Against Corruption. He's joined me in the studio. Emmanuel, thank you for your time and always being with us when we call on you. Thank you for being here, and a happy Monday to you. So I earlier on mentioned that we're talking issues of Galamsey, but in the meantime, let's go for the video of Otumfo Setutu, who has spoken. Or we've heard him once again. I think regularly he's been speaking about Galamsey, but today, or this time, he said a few things that we probably have to pay attention to. So let's have the video.
When you come to Galamsey, that is an albatross on our head. It's rather unfortunate that it's happened this way. Ghana was known as the Gold Coast, and therefore it was known. But during that time, it wasn't like the Galamsey that we are talking about. Many ones people were doing hundreds and hundreds of years ago. It was there. But unfortunately, it's gotten to a point where people are now using equipment and all that, and they don't care about the environment or anything. But the question is, who is in control of that security around the area? From the district level to the highest level. We are all talking about Galamsey. The government set up the military police to do it. Why have we not been able to stop it? So why? That's the point. Why haven't we been able to stop it? If you create a system where we say we will stop it, to the extent that the president says, I've put my presidency on the line, and yet it is going on, then to me, something is wrong somewhere.
Sure.
So we need to review why this is happening. Polluting our waters. And the case in point is, I came back and hear that a Chinese woman who was supposedly deported is back in this country also doing Galamsey again. Who allowed her to come? Is it that our borders are porous? Or what? So what happened?
Sure.
And people know who are doing the Galamsey. They know the people are working there in the communities with those people. Unfortunately, unemployment may be the problem. Fine, but that is not to say that we have to destroy environments.
Sure.
Unemployment could be a problem. Fine, so people in communities will say, I don't have any job to do, and therefore, but that's not the alternative. it's something that is facing all of us that we need to find out what went wrong. But to me, why can't Galamsey be stopped? Because I'm sure people are also involved that they know and have some authority somewhere that I don't think that should be the case. So it's a sad time that the security agencies are very serious with that. Then it means we are going to just take in the face of the soil, but not going too deeper to know exactly what's happening. And so it's my concern, Your Excellency, more so your concern. I've spoken about it, and we feel that it's about time that we all sat down to find out what it is. Because rivers are being polluted, and then we don't have a means of trying to clean these rivers and all those things. So our people who don't have water and everything, bilharzia, sickness, health delivery system and everything is all being affected. But we need to take it serious. We have to. And if we can have drones to even check on whatever is happening, we would have to be able to pinpoint what's happening there, who is there. Because at the district level, we have the political administration there. You have the district chief executive. You have the district security council over there. And that district, there's a Galamsey going on. And you tell me we don't know who is there? Then unfortunately, you are nowhere to be the district chief executive or the district security council there. So that is meant to be looking after the security of that district. And that is not going there. So if you are not able to protect, give security to that community by stopping Galamsey, you are not way to be there. It's as simple as that. But we should be able to bring this to finality and then bring some sanity to it. Because other than that, it's going to bring flooding now is happening because people have dug so many things, so the environment cannot now hold on to this, and we are losing everything. The forest cover and everything is being won because Galamsey is taking over. So that is most my concern, and whatever it is that we can do, I think we need some training for the people who are like the army officers, the police officers. I can't see why they cannot be anywhere, but they should be able to stop that. So but if they go there and meet the Galamsey people with gold and all those things, what happens? Where's the gold? Where's the money? Who is taking it? Let's face realities here. So that the concession or whatever it is given by them, by the authorities in Accra. The chiefs don't give concessions to people. The chiefs are there and the people come, they say that we've gotten a document from Accra to say that we've been given a license to come and mine. Who consulted the chief for him to even be able to supervise where he's going? And the Constitution says the minerals under is for being held in trust for the people by the president. So whoever gave that person the license to go and mine should be responsible to supervise the degradation of the land. So these are some of the things that, Your Excellency, if you look asking for my concerns, I'm very, in fact, I'm very blunt on these things, and I don't hide my feelings on these things. So those are some of the things.
You're welcome back to Good Afternoon, Ghana. Just seeing, maybe my producer will get the picture later on, but let me just read this post that's coming from. This post was put up by Godwin Avenogbo. If you know Godwin Avenogbo, one of our seniors in journalism in this country. So he says, fellow Ghanaians, have you seen this? I was heartbroken to cite this and disappointed in my country. We are hard-pressed for foreign currency and need to export to earn it. But here we are blabbing about planting for food and jobs, yet banning exports of agric produce across the borders where even some Ghanaians live and work. Now, China, where yam is not a staple food, is grown more than enough to export. Our too known attitude will bring pressure to bear on the banking system for USD and others to import yam from China soon, if we are not already doing so. Now, this post is meant to trigger discussion by the mature and reasonable citizens of Ghana, not rascals parading as ... So don't dare me by coming here to talk your usual political blah, 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 because I'm ready to meet you halfway till you get your thinking caps on. What kind of country have we found ourselves in? And I can easily link this to mining, because what we know is that the Chinese is in this country mining, destroying our lands. If you go to any concession that you find Chinese miners on, they have totally destroyed the lands. They use chemicals in mining, and that is also polluting our soils that we're using to grow food, which is affecting our cocoa produce, cash crops. That's what Ghana is benefiting from now. And of course, our staple foods as well, including yam, cassava, plantain, whatever you want to plant in the soil. Take note of that. I just had to, bring it in because I just spotted it and I thought it was important making mention. Don't forget that China is also working to be one of the world's producers of cocoa, right? Okay. Let me welcome Emmanuel Wilson again. Emmanuel, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, we're expecting Yunusa Hussaini, former minister for land and natural resources, to also join us in the discussion. We've just played the Otumfo's video.
Yes.
I think we didn't play that of the Ochehine. That was an old video where he was also talking about Galamsey. First of all, I've made notes of, he's saying that something is wrong somewhere, because the president mentioned that he's putting his job on the line and Galamsey is gone out of the roofs, so something is wrong somewhere. He says we can use drones to monitor activities on our forest reserves. He says, where is the money going to? When they even mine, where do the money go to? Who receives the money? Don't we know them? And he's asking if we don't know the people who are really truly behind mining. And he says that the chiefs are there, right? And only for them to be provided with documents that, well, I've been given this concession by the Minerals Commission to mine here, mine there. So basically, he's trying to say that there isn't much they can do if they're giving documents that they have been given permission to mine. Right.
Thank you so much again. Let me first off state that governance is a serious issue. And it is serious because it involves human lives. And so when you see or you get leaders who create the environment that governance is just a game of chance or a game of chess where they play with it anyhow they want, it becomes irritating and disappointing. The other thing we must also know is that as a country, Ghana, it looks like our tolerance level for mediocrity is so high that we celebrate mediocre than celebrating excellence. And that's why we can allow leaders to come and play with words, and we will not have any mechanism to hold them accountable for the words that they themselves express or they use. And it is tied into the fact that we've created an environment where leaders think that governance in Ghana is just a game of chance. So let me just come and play with the emotions of people, and then I go, and no one talks about it, and no one talks about anything. Mm-hmm. The last time we had opportunity to meet, we spoke about Galamsey. And if you recall, I made reference to the economic effect of it, the amount of money we lose to Galamsey. Mm-hmm. And just making reference to the Bank of Ghana's report itself. Yeah. It was very clear right from Bank of Ghana that between the periods of January 2017 to the period of January 2018, just 1 year, Ghana lost an amount of $10.7 billion to illegal exportation of gold. And that has to do with Galamsey activities. And it was just limited to just three countries, Switzerland, India, and then UAE. So you can imagine the other countries that we also export illegal gold, or we export gold illegally to. And we will to tell you the amount of money we lose as a country. Now, not just talking about that, the other thing we must also realize is that, look, just recently, a release came from Ghana Water Company, and it told us that they were increasing tariff, and it is simply because the cost component in treating water is now high. And that is one reason why they want to increase the amount of money we need to pay for consumption of water in this country.
Yeah.
You trace it and you realize that it has to do significantly with the fact that the water bodies and the sources where they rely on for water to give to all of us or to sell to all of us, we are gradually polluting it. And it is also as a result of Galamsey that is happening. Today, as we speak, almost all major rivers in this country, 7 communities and 7 significant societies in this country seems to be getting polluted as a result of Galamsey activities. And that is also one significant effect. I remember very well, about 20 years or so, 15 years ago, there was this NGO that calls itself Friends of Water Bodies. And the leader, I've forgotten his name, consistently was telling all of us that very soon, if we don't do anything about these Galamsey activities, very soon, Ghana will be importing water for us to drink. And from all indication, we are speedily getting to that stage if nothing significant is done about it. If we are not able to move from this rhetoric, talking about the fact that I am going to put my presidency on the line, I'm going to do this, just come and talk and go to sleep. If we don't move from that attitude of creating a talk shop to acting, we'll get to a stage very soon where we'll be importing water for our own consumption in this country. You realize also that, and that is one very alarming part, where this issue of illegal mining, it is now moving into even our forest reserves. Mm-hmm. Just again, recently, some few days ago, I did a check. And the check I did suggests clearly that, there's a community in Ashanti region known as Nyinahini District. Nyinahini District. They have a forest reserve, and the area is known as Asenanyo. I'm sure I got the pronunciation well. Asenanyo Reserve. Today, as we speak, people have gone into that reserve, and they are mining illegally. They are mining strongly. And I'm very sure that when you go and query some of them, they will present documents to you and say that they have titles and they have, license to go into that part of mining. We were just talking about the fact that in recent time, you can't even predict our seasons anymore in this country. Dry season and it is raining. Rainy season and it is dry. You can't even predict anything anymore. It is also because our reserve, forest reserve that is supposed to protect us, now we are even destroying it, courtesy Galamsey and all that.
Gabriela, Gabriela Tete?
Yes.
So she was actually struck by your introduction. She said that, I like this guy in your studio. When politicians start seeing politics as a tool to positive impacts, and see it as a game, we will never progress.
That's right. We have just reduced governance to just 4 years election and voting, and that is it. I'm sure that will be a different topic, and I'll be very happy for us to really digest it. But today, let's concentrate on the Galamsey. Now, talking about all this, I'm just making this presentation for us to know the effect of Galamsey now. Not just the amount of money we are losing, but it has now become so much an issue that our existence or living as human is threatened.
Okay.
Right now, you realize that we have what we call, in recent time, our cocoa that we are producing. Mm-hmm. We are being told that we are not able to export the quantity that we are supposed to export, simply because those who we sell to are saying that they see mercury in it now.
We're losing
today,
the quality.
Even our products, in things that we consume, mercury is being found in it. How many of us don't like bush meat, fishes, and all that? These animals feed, in such environments. They consume mercury, and we go and buy, and we also consume.
Hold on to that issue, because it's something that I'll come to. Let me. Inusa Hussaini has joined us.
That's fine. So that's fine.
Inusa Hussaini is former minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Honourable Minister, former minister, thank you for joining us, and also member of Parliament, former member of Parliament. You're welcome to Good Afternoon, Ghana, sir. Hello, honourable member. Former honourable member. Kindly unmute. Yeah. If you can unmute, sir. Okay, I think I can hear squabble with the paper or something.
That's fine. So whilst we sort it out.
Are you okay?
Great, I can hear you
Are you
now.
okay?
Yes, I'm okay. I can hear you
Okay.
now. Thank you so much for joining us. You're welcome.
Okay.
Right. Let me
You're welcome.
Thank you. So let me put this story across. There was a publication by Joy FM about 6 years ago, and that has to do with Mahama Ayariga. And the story reads, Environmental Minister Mahama Ayariga says it is time for government to regularize illegal small-scale mining, Galamsey activities as a more proactive way to stop pollution of the water bodies. Mahama Ayariga says attempts to halt illegal mining activities have not yielded a desired results because where there is mineral resources, people will do everything and whatever it takes to be able to extract those resources. Now, the admission comes more than 3 years after government set up anti-Galamsey task force in 2013 to clamp down on the practice. President John Dramani Mahama, who inaugurated a 5-member inter-ministerial task force to fight the menace, named as chairman, then the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Alhaji Yunus Hussaini, with the then Minister of Defense, Mark Woyongo, and Minister for Interior, Kwesi Ahoy, Dr. Joe Otingeje, and Ms. Hannah Tete as members. All ministers have since been reshuffled, but the ministry remains on the task force, which is responsible for seizing all the equipment and illegal miners used to destroy the environment. They are to arrest and prosecute both Ghanaians and non-Ghanaians engaged in small-scale illegal mining, deport all non-Ghanaians engaged in the practice, and revoke licenses of Ghanaians who have subleased their concessions to non-Ghanaians. They would also hold metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives and district security councils accountable for any illegal mining activities in their areas of jurisdiction, among other responsibilities. But revealing the struggles government is facing, Mahama Ayariga told the story of a DCE who has been sued by an illegal miner after his earth-moving equipment were seized during the crackdown. I'll pause here. Honorable Minister, former Minister, firstly, let me ask you, what were the successes of your exercise when this task force or when you were in government?
Well, thank you so very much. And in fact, let me quickly respond to what you have read. When Mahama Ayariga said what he said, I vehemently disagreed with him.
Okay.
I disagreed with him. Because that was not the position of government, and that was not government policy. The policy was, as captured in the Minerals and Mining Act, only legal small-scale mining activities can be tolerated in this country. In fact, and this practice is not only limited to Ghana. Wherever you have to exploit the resources of a country, the mineral resources of the country, you need a permit to do so. Because mineral mining activities impact the environment. So you cannot, the only way you regularize mining, small-scale mining, is by permitting it, allowing people to apply and give them conditions under which they can engage in small-scale mining. That's the only way. Now, coming back to the successes. We have always, when we were in office and when I was made the chairman, when we sat down to look at a strategic way to deal with this matter, we said the first obligation that we had as a task force was to enforce the laws of the country. The laws of the country are very clear, and no foreigner is permitted to engage in small-scale mining. And so any foreigner who is found on small-scale mining sites is prima facie, on the face of it, doing an illegal activity. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we also knew that the Minerals Commission had licensed small-scale miners to engage in legal small-scale mining. So we requested for details of those who had been licensed to carry out small-scale mining, where they were carrying out the small-scale mining, what was the state or status of their licenses and all that, and that was provided for us. We recruited as our assistants the Small-Scale Mining Association to enable us identify those of their members who were doing legal small-scale mining. We got in touch with the National Security Coordinator to fashion out a strategy where we could attack all the mining sites on the same day at a go. And that resulted in the deportation, voluntary deportation, and repatriation of about 5,000 Chinese citizens from this country. About 190 West African nationals were also arrested and prosecuted. About 2 Russians were involved in those that we arrested. That was where we were until I was reshuffled out of the ministry. But before I was reshuffled out, I had also been convinced, and that's why when you read the letter, you realize that it was stated therein that the district chief executive shall be held responsible for any illegal small-scale mining activities taking place. Because we had said that mining is a local activity, and that a DC who pretends not to know that illegal small-scale mining is taking place in his jurisdiction should not be in office. And I agree with Wilson. Governance is a serious business. You can't pretend not to see the destruction.
I'm very much interested in that because it also has been a point of debate today when it comes to the strength of the DCs in their jurisdiction. How did you empower them to take responsibility of any illegal activity or Galamsey going on in their jurisdiction? And how did you punish them?
I mean, are you saying that the DCs have challenged the assertion that they have enough power to deal with Galamsey in their jurisdictions? Is that what the impression I'm getting?
Yes, currently that's
the DC is the highest political authority within the decentralized structure. And so the district BNI, the district police, all of them come under the DC. He's the chairman of the DISEC. So if the DC doesn't know that, then he's not fit for purpose.
So you're saying that they do not have a point in the concern you're raising because they have the district security, departments all reporting to them. Okay, I think we're having a bit of some freeze on his line. Inus Afuseni, we're having an interaction with him, and he is a former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. There's also a concern that I wonder if there was a bit of disconnect between the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources at the time, because this issue has been quite technical, and most of the times you find some of these departments that are in charge or stakeholders at a disagreement or at a point of disagreement where people, one department thinks otherwise over the other, maybe. So let's see if we can get Inus Afuseni back on the line to clarify. Okay, if he's on, we would know. We also want to know if any mapping was done as far as the illegal Galamsey activities were concerned. Yes, as far as Galamsey activities were concerned, if any mapping was done. If mapping was done, at what percentage was it reduced?
Right.
Because we want to see the successes that we're able to record. We can only know if they deported 5,000 Chinese who were into that activity, as he is saying. They did reflects on the ground, you know, and all that. Yeah. So let's see if we can find out more. What do you make of what do you make of, first of all, what he has even said?
Well, you know,
he says at the time he disagreed with Mahama Yarga's position.
That is fine, but you see, and I was going to go to the next stage where he ended, because that was where, in my presentation, that's what I was going to talk about. And I wish that he will finish with his presentation, then I'll make a final conclusion on what he says. But moving on, if we really want to fight Galamsey in this country, it borders on 2 things. The first one has to do with the structures. The structures in which...
I'm sorry, let me give this to you. This is coming from a very credible source. But let me read it to you. It says that any public record of his disagreement with Ayariga, and Ayariga spoke as a chairperson of the Interministerial Task Force.
Right.
So and was speaking 3 years of the anti-Galamsey campaign. He, Inusa, was no longer in charge. So what happened to the gains 3 years down the line for Ayariga to have made his lamentation?
Yeah.
Which is still boiling down to what I said to find out. Okay,
But you
so
see,
when we get to
the interesting thing is this, Annie, the interesting thing is this. It is very clear, and for me, that is what I have established, that the fight against Galamsey is just a camouflage. Any leader you hear in this country telling you that they want to fight Galamsey, the root cause is there and it can be tackled so easily. And yet they are just dilly-dallying and going about beating about the bush. Right now, what you can hear from leaders is that they have reduced the fight against Galamsey to blame game. And you go to the ministry, and the ministry is blaming the districts. You go to the traditional leaders, and they are blaming the ministers. You go to the presidency, and they are blaming the traditional leaders. They have lost the focus, and no one is talking about how do we tackle and how do we fight it. Today, as we speak, one key thing that all of us, whether we like it or not, it has become a reality, is that we have powers given and vested into the hands of our politicians because they constitute the presidency, the executive, they constitute the ministers and the districts and all that you can think of. And yet, when you say we are going to fight Galamsey, it has been established that we have influentials, political leaders, who themselves are leading these Galamsey activities. Not the fight, the activities. Why? Over the past period, was it just last year or so, didn't it come to bear, established, that the then National Women's Organizer, who is the current National Women's Organizer, was engaged in Galamsey activities.
Is it Galamsey or mining activities?
It was if it was mining activities and she had the licenses and everything was in, they wouldn't have seized her things. So it was established that she was engaged in Galamsey activities as a result of how they went about seizing her things and managing or taking care of all the things that are the activities that she was engaged in. Now, the difficulty is this. If you
you see, I find it a little... When we give mining concession licenses to companies,
yes,
do we do follow-ups, monitoring?
See, that is the
and all that. What do we do? How do we equip task forces to carry out their jobs? Because it's not enough to release task force into the forest and say go and monitor.
Sometimes
they will need helicopters to monitor and see what's going on the ground. Sometimes they will need drones to just be checking.
Fantastic.
Check the map of our mining areas and check if they are within required areas allotted to them.
It comes to where I was leading to, the supervision. What happens to supervision? I just told you in my intro that, and I gave specifically the location, a forest reserve. As we speak, people are mining in there. And it falls within a district. Inusa, my senior brother, was talking about the district chief executives and the structure that is down there. If you have a district chief executive in my district and you have a national officer coming to do illegal mining, are you telling me, in the kind of environment and the kind of country we find ourselves in, that the district chief executive will have that confidence? Or if I'm operating as a district chief executive and my regional chairman is engaged in an illegal activity when it has to do with Galamsey and it falls within my district, are you telling me that the district's chief executive will have that power or that courage to go and stop that person? That is the structure we have built for ourselves.
Okay, why are you saying he or she won't have that power? I mean, you have been clothed with that power by the presidency. Why can't you do that?
But why? In this country, where about 90% of our being is dependent on partisan politics, and not legality.
Yes. So when you try to approach to correct the wrong, and you are refused to be heeded to, then you just have to report back to who clothed you with those powers and let them know that this is what's going on.
So it will be good for us to find out from those districts' chief executives whether or not they haven't done that. It's just like talking to or listening to Otumfuo. Before Otumfuo spoke, I have heard the current minister blaming the traditional leaders Isn't it? And yet, this is what, listen to Otumfo and just oppose it to what the minister said.
You say, as for the chief, they are there.
They are there.
And they just bring them.
Exactly. So if a chief is there and I come with a license and you are the chief and I say that, look, I have the license and the license says I shall go into this place and go and mine. Without even consulting the chief and telling the chief that, look, I have given a license and this is the area that the person is supposed to mine. And the chief himself will even serve as a check. He will be there to supervise and ensure, and the community will be there to supervise and ensure that, look, this place is a reserve and you are not supposed to go there. This place is not a reserve, you are supposed to go there. They sit in Accra, in their office, they give concessions, they give license to a place probably in Ashanti region somewhere, and authorities in Ashanti region are not even aware of. How many times haven't we heard?
This one says that over 50,000 Chinese have been repatriated from Ghana since 2005, 50,000, for engaging in illegal mining. Some of them do return to carry out on their illegality.
It's simply because the structures are not there and we are just pretending. You go to the politicians and they pretend to be fighting Galamsey. If the president is really committed to the fight against Galamsey, let me tell you, if the president is really committed to the fight against Galamsey, and he's really someone that we should take as his words are so important to him. Isn't he the president who said that he's putting his presidency on the line?
You know, I just remembered Katie Hammond's comments.
You want me to laugh?
I'm sorry.
When
I'm doing too much critical thinking in my head. Like,
when he said the youth,
and
the
I
youth,
ended up on Katie Hammond's comments.
Oma Yomuti Kondo, they can't rule. You know, but of course, if this is really a serious country and we take governance very seriously, someone like Katie Hammond shouldn't be qualified to even lead a constituency.
Oh, you cannot say
No. Let me tell you. And if you want us to go into that, I'll tell you that.
No,
you see, let me tell you
something.
something.
This message I received.
Okay,
that
let me tell you something.
We've had what 50,000 Chinese.
Not for me to divert. Not for me to move off, but just 1 minute or 2 minutes to talk about Katie Hammond, and I'll explain to you why I have said such a thing. What was the basis for which Katie Hammond made those comments? Simply because the president went somewhere and the youth were angry at the president, isn't it?
Well, you cannot say that the youth were angry at the president.
But what were they?
It wasn't a political platform.
No.
You don't have an entertainment platform.
You don't have to be at a political platform. I'm talking about the youth. The youth are citizens of this country. You don't have to be a politician or be on a political platform to express your anger to the leaders that you are paying with your taxes. Are you getting it?
Okay.
And so if you come out and you say that, look, because these people have expressed their anger, and the reason why they express their anger is because they've seen a leader who promised them that he was going to take care of youth unemployment, and nothing has happened. He was going to ensure that there's security for them, and nothing has happened. He's going to ensure that when they leave school,
But you
they're
can't,
able to...
You can't be sure of the reasons.
But
They
why?
didn't give you reasons. They only
But
moved
if
without
I am
giving you reasons.
but I mingle with you, am I not a you? Don't I know what is happening in
Okay,
this
you
country?
hold on.
You
We're
understand?
told that.
But
Idris
now,
Hussaini has joined us back
okay,
on the line.
coming back.
Yes,
Let Inisa
he had
finish.
a problem because he's traveling.
Yes.
So he has internet issues. So let him join us via phone. Honorable former member, thank you for your time once again. So
You're welcome.
right. So we were on a conversation, and there's this message I received. I'd like to read to you. It says that any public record of his disagreement with Ayariga, and Ayariga spoke as a chairperson of the Interministerial Task Force, and was speaking 3 years of the anti-Galamsey campaign. He, Inusa, was no longer in charge. What happened to their gains 3 years down the line of Ayariga to have made his lamentations?
Well, Ayariga was not a chairman of the Interministerial Committee. Whoever wrote that has made a mistake. Ayariga was not a chairman of the Interministerial Committee. The chairman of the Ministerial Committee at all material times resided with the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Right.
Ayariga was a member of parliament. I was a member of parliament, and I disagreed with him in parliament.
So what specifically did you agree with him on? Is it the approach of fighting the action, the illegal, mining, or what exactly did you disagree with him on?
I disagree with him on on recognizing illegal small-scale mining.
Oh.
Because legal small-scale mining had already been regularized by the law in 1989.
Okay.
small-scale mining had been made legal until 1989. Small-scale mining was a banned activity. It was a prohibited activity. So in 1989, a law was passed which made small-scale mining legal, consequent upon an application and going through all the motions. That brought small-scale mining under the radar of the Minerals Commission. And so if a person applied for and obtained a license to engage in small-scale mining, he had to conduct his activity in accordance with the license. What is happening now is that illegal small-scale mining is not on the radar of the Minerals Commission. So they can't monitor the activities of illegal small-scale miners. Until this matter went through the roof, our water bodies were not that bad. And so when I was chairman of the Interministerial Committee, you must express anger. And I agree with Wilson. That is why I'm calling for self-help. In fact, the losses, the damage, the carnage that illegal small-scale mining is doing to this country knows no description. Yeah. If you do natural resource accounting, where are the fishes in the water? Today we are told that farmers around the areas that doing where small-scale mining is prevalent have to get water to be able to mix their chemicals to spray their farms. Yeah. Do you know the cost? Are we not exacerbating poverty?
So this current practice of we giving licenses to small-scale mining activities, is that what you think has escalated to the current situation that we're faced with?
People simply decided that they won't go for the licenses. They will take the law into their own hands and engage in small-scale mining, illegal small-scale mining with impunity. As a country, we have to deal with it.
What should we do?
Nobody has the right to flout our laws with impunity. Then why did we waste a lot of money and resources to pass those laws? Why? Tell me which country that you know that they can just allow people to go and engage in small-scale mining without a permit, or mining without a permit. That is what is killing this country. And now we have complicity of people in authority. And they turn a blind eye to the illegal activities of these people. And so our water bodies have been killed. They are dead. Our forest cover is being depleted with careless abandon. Our cocoa farms are being attacked. Women are losing their pregnancies. Yeah. Children are born with deformities. Sure. Kidney diseases are prevalent. You don't see the damage that is happening to us. You don't see the damage because some greedy persons want to take the law into their own hands and extract the minerals and keep for themselves. Wilson, I just told you that between 2017 and 2018, the Bank of Ghana said we had lost 10 billion to illegal small-scale mining. The worry is that within that time that he referred, the time under reference, small-scale mining was banned totally in this country. The government had put a blanket ban on small-scale mining, whether legal or illegal. Yeah. So where did the gold come from that was exported to the tune of 10 billion? Sure. Where?
That's the question.
That's a question for you and I to go and investigate.
So you see, what I'm talking about and what we are talking about is the country. And let me tell you, politicians cannot come and tell us that we promise, but there are reasons why we have not been able to do it.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuse because you knew that you wanted the power to be able to affect the people's life positively. In fact, Article 1 of the Constitution says governance must be for the welfare of the people. And so all manifestos that you present, a government presents to the people, is intended to secure the welfare of the people. What excuse do you want? You talk about unemployment, and so because of unemployment, we should justify armed robbery. or those who are doing armed robbery are employed elsewhere. There's no justification for illegal small-scale mining whatsoever. Because the dangers of small-scale mining far outweigh the benefits that we get. The dangers of illegal small-scale mining.
To deport foreign illegal miners, for example, the Chinese, but they still end up coming back. How does that happen? Maybe in your time, you were able to deport some of them. How are they able to come back to continue what they're doing?
So that is why all the authorities, that's why I'm calling for self-help. Because the people know that people in authority aid, facilitate, abet the coming into Ghana of these foreigners. But we are in our country. If the country is destroyed, the foreigner will go back to his country. The foreigner will go. And so when you are living in a hin and you see a foreigner engaged in small-scale mining, you have a right to prevent that foreigner. If it means physical prevention, you have to prevent that foreigner physically. If you see a Ghanaian or somebody who looks like a Ghanaian engaged in illegal small-scale mining, you have a right. You don't have to leave it to government. After all, recent events have demonstrated clearly that government authorities and officials are complicit in illegal small-scale mining.
Yeah, that's true.
So we can't rely on government. We can't. My sister, what is confronting the country is more than you can imagine. We're dying slowly. The economic base of our country has not been attacked. The European Union is threatening to ban our cocoa. And we ourselves, we are drinking oranges contaminated with cyanide.
Yeah.
You think that you are living a crash or you are not seeing the ravages of small-scale mining. You better not drink oranges coming from the Galamsey sites. We are sitting on a time bomb. In fact, elsewhere, such activities are classified as environmental crimes.
Right.
And environmental crimes have been described as crimes against humanity. Because when the environment is destroyed, humans will go. That's why there's a need to protect the environment. And if government has displayed an unexplainable lack of capacity to deal with this canker, then we have to take we the citizens of this country will have to take the initiative. That's why I'm calling for self-help in the nature of citizens action against Galamsey. Just like Wilson is fighting against corruption. In fact, it is corruption that has seeped through the fight against Galamsey. You talk about Galamsey tax force, Galamsey.
Yes.
The law says that when they go to the Galamsey sites and seize the minerals, seize the equipment, seize money, they have to account. Since 2007, when they started fighting, have they accounted to us how much they have retrieved from the Galamsey sites?
Honorable Nusa Fuseni, we'll leave it here. We'll definitely get to you again because we're tackling this issue throughout the week. It's a Metro TV agenda, and we're all following through to make sure it's. Thank you for speaking with us. Former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, also former Member of Parliament, Honorable Nusa Fuseni. Wilson, you use the rest of the time.
Well, when you listen to my big brother, Honorable Nusa Fuseni, who has been a minister and has directly been in charge, and he speaks with this passion, it tells you, just like I said earlier on, and he confirmed it so many times, that even our existence as human in this country, we are under a serious threat. Because everything we consume now, we are now exposed. And no wonder when you go to, yesterday I was listening to a program where a medical doctor was talking about the kind of strange diseases that are now being recorded at the children's ward.
Yes.
And it is so alarming and disheartening. And so when you sit here and you think that, look, maybe I am the one benefiting from it, And so let me just keep quiet and benefit from it. When you sit here and you say that, look, I don't want to really fight and expose it because it will affect my party. Probably my party is the party that is in power. When you sit here and you reduce this whole national disaster known as Galamsey to partisan interest, selfish interest, what you are doing is that you are not just affecting yourself, but even your next generation. You are affecting your next generation.
Let me just read this one. This one says, "Good afternoon, Annie. Government should suspend the issuance of license to small-scale mining for about 5 years so that we save our water bodies and bring it back to life." I'm Haji Haruna Ashaiman. Good afternoon, Annie. I would like to know the difference between what Otumfo said as you played and what Odike said. Annie, our municipal and district chief executives have the power to but lack the integrity to stand up for what is right and defend the law. Good afternoon, Annie. I'm really amazed and enthused about the comment of the chief crusader, Mr. Emmanuel Wilson Jr. Let's take these anti-corruption groups serious and empower them. This is from Theo of Teshi. Annie, fight against Galamsey has always been mere sloganeering, and Aisha Wan has exposed bad faith of government. After Anas did extensive work on the mining industry and exposed government officials engaging in Galamsey, what happened? We can never succeed the fight against Galamsey corruption if government is not interested in prosecuting its own party people. If youth just want to survive, and if people can go deep in their forest, just go to support themselves and family through Galamsey. I think we should collaborate as stakeholders to fight Galamsey and not this blame game. Have many of your messages. If national security and all intelligence gathering officers say they are not aware of Kimpings and Galamsey operations, then those departments should be scrapped. Jesse from Adabraka. Today we have the time to talk about when things get out of hand. We can't sit and watch on TV. Let's be careful. It's true. Today we have to talk about it. The next time we won't even get a chance to watch.
Sure. And I think that we should move it from just a talk to something else. And I will encourage Yunus Hussein. I think he made mention of citizens, self-help. If he can lead it, I'm sure we will bring in our members and all of us can join forces for us to ensure that we practicalize this. If not, and we leave it into the hands of the politicians and the leaders, they will not fight it, they will not do anything about it. Now, one person made reference to we suspending a license for a period of 5 years. The issue is not even about issuance of license. The issue has to do with our ability to make sure that those we give license to, we supervise their activities. For them not to go into reserves and not to go and mine at places that they are not supposed to mine.
Right.
That is the problem we have in this country.
Emmanuel Wilson, we'll always have you in the studio. Chief Crusaders Against Corruption. Also, we had Yunus Hussein, former Member of Parliament and also Minister for Lands and Natural Resources in the previous administration. I am Ania Fompofo. We'll continue the program some other time. Thank you.